Next up on the show, Gene Okerlund is dressed in Roman gear as per everyone else and is joined by the Steiner Brothers. Scott says that they are very excited about their first WrestleMania. Rick says they'll do what they do best, which is to wrestle and make Julius Caesar proud. This precedes the Steiner Brothers versus the Headshrinkers, which is just a 14.5-minute match, and it ends when Scott hits the Frankensteiner on Samu for the pin. Stephen, your thoughts on this one?
Jim Ross said slobber knocker for the first time ever on WWF television during
Certainly
this.
Certainly did. And Bobby Heenan ripped him a new one, as I think was absolutely right to do.
Yes. Bobby Heenan had the line of this match when Ross announced that Sherry had been attacked backstage by Luna. Bobby said super in a hilarious way. Steiner, I don't know what they would do. They did like a hot shot on Scott Steiner and he went beyond the top rope. So I don't know whether they tried to do this, but it looked like he was nearly killed with this. But yeah, that was a really scary moment. Rick hit an incredible mid-air power slam, and then Ross shouted Steiner line as Scott hit the Frankensteiner for the win. And I'm sure a little bit of him died inside when that happened. I thought this was decent, albeit it felt quite long. And these were two uncharacteristically lengthy matches to start WrestleMania, I thought.
I think you're probably right there. 18 minutes and 14 minutes. Yeah, pretty long, man.
I love this. Really, really enjoyed it. I totally agree, Stephen. They sort of dropped. Was it Scott Steiner? Yeah, it was Scott that they sort of dropped on the top. I thought, bloody hell, that looked dangerous. I mean, I'm not sure if somebody messed up or something there, but that could have been really catastrophic. Thank God they managed to avoid that. But then he got smacked by a ridiculously hard kendo stick shot, which I can still hear ringing in my ears now. After seeing that. But yeah, this was really good. It was quite two tough teams, I wouldn't be surprised if, all as individuals have reputations for being quite tough guys, because they certainly seem it. It was quite sort of smash mouth at times, a lot of sort of stiff kicks, power slams, that type of thing. I mean, one thing that really stuck out to me is that I didn't even sort of think about really is how long Rikishi has really been in the business. My God, he has been around a long time, hasn't he? But yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed this. The Steiners, this being their first WrestleMania, for me, sort of, backed up that this felt like, a change, and this was something different and new. And this was a really good match. Really enjoyed it.
The Steiner Brothers is a tag team only WrestleMania, in fact. Rick Steiner didn't ever have another WrestleMania appearance. This is about as perfect as wrestling gets for me. Steiner Brothers versus Headshrinkers, mid-90s. Love both these tag teams, and this was lovely. This was a lovely 15-minute match, and I enjoyed every moment of it. I thought it was great. The Frankensteiner was a bit sloppy from Scott at the end. That was the only thing that I thought was just a little bit off, but everything else is great. Clean victory. Match of the night for me, easily. Thought it was really good. Refereed by Bill Alfonso, so it had all kinds of things going on there. Jim Ross's first slobber knocker, referee by Bill Alfonso. Yeah, great Steiner's music. Their entrance theme is fantastic. I think it's just a Michigan State University song, I think, but love it, guys. More of that, please. Yeah, I just thought it was really, really good. That stun gun attempt that you both talked about was a bit mad, but Scott Steiner's mad. Like his whole career is mad. Watch every match he ever does. He does something nuts every single time. This podcast has massively opened my eyes to the Steiner Brothers and Scott in particular. I just think he's just great for most of his career. Obviously, later stuff, his WWE run in the early 2000s didn't end up being quite as productive. But God, his stuff in WCW and this sort of year and a half that he's in the WWF was just great stuff.
I was just say, did Scott ever wrestle a WrestleMania again?
Well, I don't know. I figured he must have done 19, 20, 21, somewhere around there, but maybe he didn't.
He was around the company at 19 and 20, but I don't think he was on the main card. I can't remember 20, even though I was there, so you think I should be able to remember that, but I don't remember.
I don't think he did either.
You might be right. No. You might be right.
The other thing about Scott Steiner is I'm sure it was on Bruce Pritchard's podcast, so you think this source-wise that's pretty strong. That Scott was in consideration for the WWF title around this time in the Luger role that came afterwards, and also the WrestleMania 9 role. So I think even going back further than that. So yeah, clearly he was Scott Steiner was great here. Like the people that are slightly older than me stateside, absolutely the Steiner Brothers and stuff, like the stuff in Japan, the stuff in the States, they absolutely love that. And I think the same, Ben. The more I see of them around that time, the better I think they are/were.
I'm going to say something controversial. I actually would have now retrospectively loved to have seen Scott Steiner get a main event push in WWF in 93, even maybe over Brett, even though I think Brett's a better worker. I think Scott's got more, how do I put this? Because of Vince's attitude to the way people look, and Scott being a bigger guy, more muscular guy, I think he would have stood a better chance being a major star than Brett, because Vince would have got behind him properly. So
it's all about the booking, isn't it?
Of course. Yeah. So, I would have loved to see that. Retrospectively, I think at the time I'd have been like, what's going on here? This is a strange tag team wrestler suddenly getting the main event. push. But that's just that was just my perspective at the time.